Now to that developing story we've been following all week long. The search for Grant Hardin now entering its third day, or finishing its third day. He was serving prison sentences for first-degree murder and rape. Both crimes happened in Benton County. We learned tonight that investigators believe a corrections officer let Hardin walk out of that facility. They shared this surveillance image captured during that escape. He was disguised to look like a corrections officer when he walked out of the prison near Calico Rock on Sunday afternoon. Law enforcement agencies from around the state have been involved in the manhunt, working through the rainy and very foggy conditions to locate Hardin. Those efforts include checkpoints, searches with drones, as well as canine units. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer is live in Calico Rock. She's the only reporter from our area there tonight. And Lauren, some business owners are understandably a little bit concerned.
Yeah, that's right, Darren. For more than 48 hours, law enforcement has been stationed at checkpoints like this one across Izard County, asking questions, checking vehicles, and searching for a man people now refer to as the Devil in the Ozarks. The community here is on edge. I spoke with a local business employee at this very intersection who said it's a feeling in town like she's never felt before.
Everyone is on edge, for sure. No one's taking anything for granted.
Between the Buns is a local burger joint that sits right at the intersection of Highway 5 and Highway 56.
We have just a lot of outside tourists because, as you can tell, Between the Buns, it's a unique name.
It's now an intersection marked by flashing lights and uniformed officers, a checkpoint for travelers passing through. Employee Tanya Sanchez says they're not open at that location anymore. They've moved down the street to a bigger space.
It would be a happening spot right now, I guarantee it. People would be looking out the windows for sure.
The small fishing town of Calico Rock is not used to such a large police presence.
It's definitely weird. Being an intersection though, I really can't say that it's unusual because we have seen multiple people pulled over.
Hello.
Grand Champion with ADC says the search is continuing with a challenging terrain.
It can be tricky. There's a lot of hills, there's a lot of cliffs, you go down and you figure out, there's a lot of water, there's a lot of farms, there's a lot of woods.
As authorities continue to comb the area, many locals are left grappling with how an escape like this could happen.
We felt like not let down, but such as everyone, how could this happen?
Tonight, we've learned that Hardin is now facing an escape charge in Izard County, and we're going to be here and monitoring updates from ADC as well as Izard County officials. Live in Calico Rock, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
All right, Lauren, thanks. We're also hearing tonight from Cheryl Tillman. She's the mayor of Gateway and sister to James Appleton, the man Hardin murdered in 2017. Tillman says her entire family has been on edge since his escape, while the Benton County Sheriff's Office and Pea Ridge Police Departments have reassured her that they are on high alert and they have placed special protection on the family. Tillman says she still feels like they may be in danger until he's caught.
I'm scared for everybody. Especially myself, my sister, my husband, they all work together. We were on that council that fired him.
Here's another look at the photograph shared by authorities. The photo on the left is Hardin's latest prison mugshot. Photo on the right was from surveillance video taken when he walked out of the prison disguised as a corrections officer. You can follow all of our coverage, by the way, and any developments in the search on our website at 5newsonline.com. Looking ahead, Richard Copeland is set to appear before a Washington County judge for an arraignment tomorrow. He's the man accused of setting up a camera inside the bathroom of a Springdale business. That camera was discovered by a patron, and investigators discovered at least 7 people had been recorded while using the restroom. Prosecutors say they're still examining more evidence found inside Copeland's home and that he could face more charges when they have a clearer idea of how many victims there actually are. You can also follow any developments to come out of tomorrow's hearing and find all of our coverage of the case there on our free 5 News smartphone app. Well, the cities of Fort Smith and Arcoma sat down this evening to talk about a pending massive sewer rate hike from Fort Smith. Starting June 1st, Arcoma was supposed to see its sewer rates increase by 350%. Arcoma Mayor Joshua Johnson says the town's still pushing for a fair contract. Some on the board, though, insist the rate hike is necessary to avoid subsidizing that smaller town.
To absorb the retail rate as a municipality and then try to pass that on to our customers, along with the intrinsic cost of running any system, just as you guys have. It's untenable, and it's something not only, do I believe it be inaccurate to apply to the municipality, it's not something that we could conceive a way to actually meet that obligation.
If we go towards a wholesale rate for somebody, we are going to have citizen after citizen after citizen asking for that rate to us. If we're going to discount for one, we discount it for all.
Turning their water off is not the answer. Prosecution is not the answer, or anything else heavy-handed is not the answer. We're not going to let Arcoma down the vine. We're not going to give them so much grace that they pay nothing, so we're not going to pay their way. So it's got to be some kind of conversation where we meet middle ground.
The board tonight made a request to city staff to come back with a different sewer rate plan for Arcoma to be formally adopted by the board at a future meeting. It's been a month since Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signed House Bill 1150 into law. It targets pharmacy benefit managers and how they operate in the state. Pharmacy giant CVS threatened to close its stores in Arkansas because of this new law. But as reporter Maya Ellison found out, it's still up in the air if CVS will actually close any stores in the state.
I'm proud that Arkansas is leading on this issue. For far too long, the PBMs have been the drug middleman and frankly passed the cost on to the consumer.
That was Governor Sanders back in April when she shared her support for the then newly signed House Bill 1150, now known as Act 624.
Act 624 is actually a pretty relatively simple piece of legislation to explain. It just says you can't be both a price setter and a price taker.
It's a law introduced to target PBMs. They sit in the middle between patient insurance and pharmacies.
And they set the price of what the medicine costs. They decide which pharmacies a patient can use.
Arkansas Pharmacy Association CEO John Vinson broke down the language of the law. He explains that businesses like CVS, who own their own PBM, could potentially see the impacts.
Kroger has given up their PBM license and has chosen to be neutral on the legislation, versus CVS has not been, on TV commercials and in the paper and during the legislative session, they'd made statements that they would have to close their pharmacies.
It's a choice that's leaving many Arkansans with questions. So we reached out to CVS. They say because of the law, the state is forcing them to close 23 pharmacies and lay off more than 500 workers. That's led some to believe they're closing their doors. But in a statement shared with THV11, CVS says, quote, "We have not announced any plans to close stores, and we're evaluating any and all options we may have to keep our pharmacies open."
They're giving these companies a choice. You can sell, you can divest.
With Act 264 going into effect January 1st, 2026, CVS officials go on to say, quote, "Small businesses, employers, health plans, and others are going to have to pay more for prescription drugs starting next year." But Vincent says otherwise.
I believe it would create jobs, it would increase the number of pharmacies, and it would increase access at lower prices for consumers.
It was Maya Ellison reporting. Now, according to the Arkansas State Pharmacy Board, there are 734 licensed pharmacy operators across Arkansas.